Hey kids, today I'm going to be explaining the backstory and general knowledge of the Death Note character Beyond Birthday, also known as B or Ryuzaki. There is a lot of information on Beyond Birthday, though most of it is spread out through different websites and YouTube videos, though I just want to peel back all the information I could find in one video like some sort of shitty onion. A decent amount of people may not know who Beyond Birthday is, seen as though he never appears in the Death Note manga or anime other than an offhanded mention of his case.
Ray Pember's fiancée, Naomi Misora. Heard that name before. So it's her. She's from the Los Angeles BB murder case, that's right.
And fan speculation of the character on screen now being him, though really it's just Matt, and to my knowledge he doesn't make an actual appearance in any of the Death Note movies. Most of the things I'm going to be talking about take place in Death Note. Another note, the Los Angeles BB murder cases, with maybe the odd mention of the manga and L, change the world. The BB murder cases is the story of a case L did alongside Naomi Misora trying to find the culprit of a series of killings. The culprit was later revealed to be Beyond Birthday. The book is narrated by Mello in an attempt to show off how much more he knows about L than Nier. Also, from this point on I'm mainly going to call him A and B were the first two children selected by Wami's house to be the successor to L, during which the pressure eventually overcame A, causing him to commit suicide, after which at an unknown time B left Wami's house. From May 2002 to July no one knew the location of B, though likely at some point during this time he decided he would still surpass L, not as a better detective but as the world's greatest criminal, and he would do this by making a case L would never be able to solve. B's first victim was a 44-year-old man named Believed Bridesmaid. B killed him on July 31, 2002, by drugging him and choking him with a rope, as well as in post-mortem mutilation slashing him across the chest multiple times. B also redressed him for whatever reason. B also left 4 Ninja dolls at the crime scene. Also Believed Bridesmaid was murdered in his bedroom, and during her review of the crime scene Naomi Misora meets a detective named Ryuzaki who helps her to find clues leading to the second victim. Ryuzaki is a thin young man with natural black hair, dark lines under his eyes, wears a plain shirt, faded jeans, and is seemingly tall but curves his back so he seems 2 heads lower than Naomi. He also eats a lot of sweets, mainly strawberry jam, and sits in a squatting position. When she looked at the autopsy photos, Naomi Misora found out that the cuts on his chest spelled out Roman numerals. Naomi Misora and Ryuzaki also deciphered a code left by the killer. 2 volumes of Akazukin Chacha were replaced with another book using the Roman numerals carved into Bridesmaid's chest. They found out that the numbers coincided with the first letter of the first word on certain pages of the book, and created a message spelling out the name of the next victim. B's second victim was a 13-year-old girl named Quarter Queen. Her death occurred 4 days after Believed Bridesmaid. Quarter Queen was described as a young girl with blonde hair. She lived in a single-bedroom apartment designed for college students. She lived there with her single mother. The day she died, her mother was out of town. She was also drugged before dying, but what killed her was blunt force trauma to the skull. Her eyes were also crushed post-mortem, and glasses were put on her face. B nailed 3 Ninja to the wall. Also, when reviewing the crime scene, Naomi and Ryuzaki found out that the glasses she was wearing didn't actually belong to Quarter. Although she did have a prescription for glasses, she opted to wear contact lenses instead, and the glasses put on her body were a message of the detective's blind spot. Naomi also found Quarter Queen's death particularly tragic, partly because of how young she was and because she was the same age as a teenager. Naomi couldn't bring herself to shoot in an FBI drug heist. The third and final successful murder happened 9 days after Quarter Queen's death. The victim was a 28-year-old bank worker named Backyard Bottomslash. Before murdering her, B decided he wanted to see if a human could die of internal hemorrhage without rupturing any organs, and he did this by drugging and then beating Backyard's left arm without breaking the skin. Though it didn't end up working, so B instead cut off her right leg and left arm, with her death being caused by loss of blood. Her right leg was found in her bathtub and her left arm was never found. Also, B nailed 2 Ninja dolls to the wall. Before I get to the last murder of B, I want to briefly mention how B chose his victims. B chose based of when the victims would naturally die, so the 3 people I just mentioned would have died on the same day they were murdered, regardless of if B killed them or not. The reason B could tell when they were going to die is he was born with the Shinigami eyes. It's unknown how he could have been born with the eyes, as I mentioned before. The story is narrated by Mello, and he also gives a theory on how he would have been born with them, saying that a Shinigami might have dropped them instead of dropping a death note. When Naomi shows up to the expected site for the final murder, she discovers that the man she's been working with, Ryuzaki, was beyond birthday the whole time. After finding this out, Naomi finds B in a locked room after he'd set himself on fire. She then put the flames out and arrested him, and in 2007 Beyond dies of a heart attack in prison. Throughout the Los Angeles BB murder cases, you're led to believe that Ryuzaki is L. There are many reasons for this, like his love for sweets, though Ryuzaki doesn't eat sweets like L. While L does seem to eat a lot of sweets, he never really pigs out while eating, except for playing with his food. He does it fairly normally. Ryuzaki, on the other hand, was said to have shoved his hand into a jar of strawberry jam and sucked it dry. And for another quick example, the quote on screen now is about the appearance of Ryuzaki. When I said Ryuzaki looked like L, he was said to have worn multiple layers of makeup to alter his appearance. It's unknown what B looks like with or without the makeup, or how he knew what L looked like, or how he acted. The closest thing to seeing Beyond Birthday's face is the cover of the novel. The man on the left may be Beyond, or it may be L. Now I'll explain more of Beyond Birthday's plan. He planned for his final murder to be his own suicide, or rather the death of his persona Ryuzaki. Beyond wanted his death to fit in line with the victims, with his body being identified as Beyond Birthday, and because he kept his name a secret to Wami's house, he wouldn't be identified as B. The last thing I have to talk about is B's possible cameo in the movie L. Change the World, when L is on his laptop and sending the message that Watari has died to the members of Wami's house. You can see the name B on his mailing list, though I don't know if this is Beyond Birthday or not. Though that's really it. Let me know if I missed something in the comments. For now, goodbye.